Hey everyone, Skull902 here. In the mid-1990s, Saban Entertainment's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers made its mark on television by adapting a Japanese tokusatsu series for Western audiences. Half of the footage for any given episode coming from pre-existing sources predictably made the show extremely profitable, but what happens when you run out of that pre-existing stock footage to use? Well, in an era before each subsequent Super Sentai series was adapted into Power Rangers, those in charge behind the scenes had to come up with some interesting ways to keep the show going, the first of which was to commission wholly new footage from Sentai production company Toei that would be used exclusively in Power Rangers. But it wasn't some half-assed throwaway project either. The Japanese production team really did their homework, and I'm going to point out how, along with some other cool stuff about the Zyu2 batch of footage. Let's take a look. Firstly, it's gotta be mentioned that this isn't the first time Saban had made the request. While small compared to the rest of the stock footage, Toei did film original material for Power Rangers used in its original 40-episode run. Dubbed Zyu 1.5 by fans, this footage was based around the villains, with original shots of Machiko Soga and Ami Kawai portraying Rita and Scorpina respectively, usually to better fit the English vocal track. If you pay attention, the lip-syncing is very impressively done. I had no idea about this little batch of material for years. They did a pretty good job making it look as though it came from the original show. But plans changed once Power Rangers exploded in popularity, with demand for more episodes as well as the show's most popular character. And with this second batch, they took things up a notch. Like I said before, the production team at Toei really did their homework when it comes to Power Rangers, because several elements were implemented in the Zyu2 footage that make it very distinct from the original Zyuranger series. One of my favorite things they did was take notice that the American Green Ranger suit was a lighter shade than the Japanese suit, and, while it's not in all of the Zyu2 episodes, they made a whole new Japanese suit to color match it. The Zyurangers didn't use communicators, and neither did they teleport. In the Zyu2 footage, however, you see these Power Rangers elements being implemented. It carries over to the characterization as well. The Yellow Ranger is portrayed with more feminine body language and a clear bond with the Pink Ranger. The Blue Ranger was shown being resourceful and making inventions to help fight against monsters, and the Green and Pink Rangers were also portrayed as affectionate toward and protective of each other. I just find it so fascinating that they put that level of care into the product, and, while some of these were at the request of Saban, that doesn't take away from it in my opinion. Another thing I find interesting about it was that the resultant Power Rangers episodes' plots are still dictated by the Japanese footage. Everything you see in the Zyu2 stuff is a loose story Toei came up with that the folks at Saban had to tie together, and it still worked. Production-wise, you can tell from certain details that this was done on the cheap, even by Sentai standards, but even then, it makes for interesting details. The Mutant Rangers and Commander Crayfish using the Zyurangers' pre-transformation weapons, for example. Really, the only shortcoming of the Zyu2 footage was the Zord fights. In the Season 1 portion it wasn't bad, but the battles were significantly slower paced and you can tell the Zord suits had by that point gone through quite a bit of wear and tear. However, they weirdly made the decision to upgrade the Rangers' Zords before the stock footage was fully exhausted, meaning that the Rangers, aside from Tommy, but even then the Dragon Zord barely ever appeared, were using the Die-Ranger mechs against the Zyu2 monsters, leaving Saban to have to sloppily cut together Zord fights where, with one American shot exception and the earlier mentioned Dragon Zord appearances, we never see the monster and Zords on screen together, which looked like total shit and wasted material they themselves paid for, and wouldn't be uncovered until some footage held by Jeff Pruitt was released in 2014. Concept art shows that this problem would have been resolved in a potential Zyu3 batch of footage had Saban ordered it, showing newly designed Dino Zords being able to combine with the White Tiger Zord, but alas, they took a different route. Would have been a hell of a lot better than the splice fights. And that's about it for the story. By the time Season 3 got started, Saban had gotten more comfortable shooting footage themselves if they needed something that badly, especially necessary because they were taking elements from 3 separate Sentai series in that season. Occasionally it would result in original Zord fights being shot, including one at the beginning of Season 3 where the Thunder Zords, originally from Die-Ranger, are seen on-screen fighting Rito, originally from Kaku Ranger, and a few monsters from Zyu2. The problem was fixed entirely with their decision to move to a yearly changeout of the suits starting in Zeo, mirroring their Japanese counterparts. Still, as the first solution to the issue, I think Zyu2 made for a pretty cool blend of the Japanese and American elements of production, something rarely seen in the show's run, but interesting all the same. Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you thought about the video in the comments. Give it a like if you liked it, or a dislike if you didn't. If you'd like to see more, subscribe and click the bell for notifications. It's free and you can opt out anytime. Here's a playlist with similar content, and my Twitter. I have been Skull902, thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Zyu2 was also responsible for giving us the Black Ranger with the Dragon Shield and the Robo-Goat fight scenes, the unmitigated badassery of which should outweigh any of its shortcomings.